Do you feel like you're in the frying pan? I decided to try something out. I was going to cook some eggs, and I took the frying pan, I got my eggs out, and I decided that I was going to try to cook my eggs without any heat. I thought it'd be a little easier on the eggs. And wouldn't you know it, surprise, surprise, the eggs didn't cook at all. Then I turned on the heat, and miracle of miracles, with the heat, the eggs cooked and I was able to enjoy the egg. Hey, if you enjoy this channel, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel, share this video with somebody else right now, and click the like button. Well, there is an application to this. It may sound a little strange and not too surprising that the heat was what was needed in order to really cook the eggs and prepare them. There's a verse in James chapter 1 where James writes, "Consider it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness, and let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing." What a hard thing to swallow sometimes, because we don't want to be in the frying pan. We like our lives nice and easy without any of the heat turned up. But maybe you find yourself in a place right now where you're in the frying pan, you're going through some trial, some difficulty, some struggle with another person, something that you're facing, and you're trying to run from it. And I think the challenge of that verse is for us to realize that just like that egg, if we want to develop and mature, we need to see that process of the heat being turned up as a good thing. The reality is in our lives that the times that we grow are the times at which we go through difficulty and we work through it with endurance. And in the midst of the challenges that we face, that we don't run from it, we don't grumble about it, but we stop and begin to ask the question, Lord, why are you turning up the heat? What are you trying to turn me into? How are you trying to change me? And begin to look for God's purposes in the turning up of the heat and the trial. When we step back and we begin to look at God's purposes and think about God's purposes and realize that He is using this difficulty in your life to change you. He has a vision of what He wants you to become so that you can be more effective in the lives of other people, that you can mature and grow. And He is allowing these situations where the fire is turned up in order to mold you and to change you. Isn't that an exciting process? And I think the more that we have our radar on, where we're thinking about this process that God's taking us through, that we won't resist, we won't grumble about the situations that we find ourselves in. This isn't just spin. This is a belief that God is in control of our lives, and God has a purpose not just to make our lives easy and comfortable, but to shape us and to form us so that we will honor Him with our lives and that we'll be more effective in the lives of other people. I don't know how many times I've talked to people who have gone through the fire, through difficulties, and in the midst of it, or when they are past the difficulty, they can look back and they can say, you know, I knew exactly what God was doing, or I can see now exactly what God has done in my life because of that trial, because of that difficulty. And so the challenge for you, and I encourage you to think about this, is in the midst of that challenge that you're going through, when the burner's being turned up and it's getting a little bit uncomfortable, is to think about, what is God doing in my life? How is He changing me? And how is He going to use this for good? Sometimes it's just a matter of learning endurance to work through issues in our life. And sometimes He's changing our character, the way that we respond to somebody, the difficulties that we go through, that then coming on the other side of it, we can be an example and an encouragement to others to have more empathy and more understanding of what they're going through so that we can help them through that process. So if you feel that temperature being turned up, look to it and look at that verse in James chapter 1 and begin to think, God, why are you doing this? I need to consider this joy. I should be excited about this. That's a hard thing to swallow sometimes, not because of the struggle and the trial, but because of what God is going to do through that trial. So God bless you. And if you're struggling in an area of your life, I would love to hear about that. Leave a comment below, just so that we can be praying for each other and encouraging each other as we go through those trials. Remember, too, that if you're part of a local body, there are people around you in the midst of that trouble to not go through it alone, but also people that can encourage you maybe to see God's purpose in the trial, what God is doing to refine you and to give you endurance. So God bless. Again, check out other videos on the channel for encouragement. Thank you.